shuttle has cleared the tower. Every 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Hey, it works. What the hell? Wasn't expecting that. So C920 is now up here temporarily. I'm using that microphone on thing I got, which I'm not 100% on. Turn down the volume on my end. It's got the ring light on it, which is quite effective actually. It's not too bad on my eyes, so I'll go with that. And the Brio is not mounted properly right now. Just get a little bit closer. There we go. So that should be okay. It's a little bit lower FPS than should be. I think it's maybe one tone of exposure too high. I think I need to tune that down one. Thinking about it. I'll do it later. Turn that down and up the ring lights new year. I also need to do the color correction because I look dead. Hang on, I look that way in real life anyway, so it's accurate. So what we have here, we have the Aerocool Silent 600 watt. This is as budget as you could get, really. 700 watt actually used to be really cheap as well. But yeah, these are really cheap power supplies, and they just have the basic protections that you really must need. They don't have any luxuries at all. They do have a couple of advantages. They have a C13 cable, so they come with a power cable, which is, you know, like a 3 to 5 quid cost depending on where you get them from. So you save yourself a decent bit of money there already, while they're already extremely cheap. And they're ribbon cables, which are actually quite nice to deal with, and they're quite nice to look at. The cooler is the Arctic Alpine. Just make sure this camera lines up quite well. Low profile, Alpine 12 low profile. These, I use millions of these. This is one that I used on a build before I changed it. I used it temporarily. So it's already, box already destroyed. But aside from that, really nice little cooler. Processor we're using is the i7-2600K. You can tell by the very official looking packaging that kind of curious if the autofocus is going to work after that firmware update. Not sure if I have it set properly. Perhaps not. But this camera is really good for getting in and getting some close detail. I'll do more of that later. So I bought this insanely cheap used, as in like when my PC building the way I usually do is a flat £50 builder fee, and I effectively take off certain amounts of money depending on how good of a deal I got the parts for. And with this PC, I got it so cheap, it literally already pays for my builder's fee. So this PC is going to be very budget friendly, and it's going to be a good price because of that. All the stuff here I got for good prices. The 1050 Ti I'm not as happy with. It did have one broken fan, and what I ended up doing was just basically chopping the wires. Oh, you can see with the wobble of the circle there, whereas you can see this one, the circle wobbles just perfectly. But this is incredibly loud, it's off bearing, and instead of waiting a month to get a replacement, just cut it off. It's cosmetic now, and yeah, it's quite nice temperature wise still. 100% load for half an hour, I get 60 degrees. I repasted it with Cryonaut just to give it some years with some better temps. We're going no hard drive in this build. I didn't have any small hard drives anyway, so I went for a Seagate Barracuda 480 gig. Got a bunch of these, really nice 2.5-inch SSDs, and they look great. If you're using them to like block cable management holes in, not management holes, but the thread through holes where you put in your motherboard, cable, whatnot. If you're using that to block those holes, they come out really well. So I'm very happy with that. IO Shield, the motherboard did come with one. I bought this motherboard ages ago for £23. It's a Micro ATX board I got for 2nd and 3rd gen. I wanted to pick up a 2600K or 2700K to throw in it. 2500K maybe, but 2500K you really have to overclock to be that useful. So 2600K, 2700K, I got a 2600K in the end. But I bought this absolutely ages ago and just forgot about it as a project. It was £23 posted or something. Ridiculously cheap for this motherboard. And it's actually okay, it's a decent Asus board. The only thing I don't really like is no HDMI output, but that's a blessing in some ways because when it goes to the customer I want to obviously say, you know, make sure they plug into the graphics card. So no HDMI port, they can't mess that one up unless you have a DVR monitor or something. For RAM we're going with not DDR4 Fury HyperX. This is actually Hynix 1600 MHz DDR3. These are just HyperX heatsinks, and they come out looking really good. If you want to make a build look a bit less crap with plain green sticks, pick up these heatsinks. So yeah, I'm just using those as straight up heatsinks really. Decorative. Welcome Icy, how's it doing? How's it going? Dead Pixel. So hopefully everything's set up fine, everything looks fine. Although I look fine. Aside from a bit pasty. I think that's probably just the ring light though, I should probably warm it up a bit. That's way too warm. That's not really good. Maybe that. Turn down one setting. Yeah, I'm good, thanks for asking. The case we're going to be using is a Deep Cool Matrix 4A3SF, I think it's called. It's a Micro ATX case. Tricolor LED fan, so they're RGB in the sense it has no R or G. It's got B. So it's 1/3 RGB. It's Not addressable, nothing like that, just static 3 colours. I think it's orange, blue, and purple, off the top of my head. It actually looks quite good. It's the same case as the Trinity almost. I think this case is pretty much the Trinity before the Trinity ripped it off. Yeah, so I think it's a decent case for the price. It was £30, which was the price of the Trinity, £29.99. And yeah, down from 40. Thought I'd give it a go. And it's a cheap, crappy case, but for 30 quid, it's one of those ones you can't complain about. For 40, I would complain. I would complain hard. So, I'll be meaning to order some MX5. I haven't got around to that yet. Just thought I'd bring that up because I still have a decent amount of MX4. This is, I believe, the same tube I've used in other videos. The large tube I'm kind of running out of. So, what we're going to do here, we're just going to do the usual. Quickly build this PC as much as possible. 22.6, so let's see how long it takes. I'm gonna just explain things as I go, but I'm not gonna actually sit around too much. So, first things first, let's install the CPU. We're matching arrow, or just if you've used the same boards and CPUs over and over again, you know it's usually the right way up text-wise for Intel. Let's install the CPU cooler. Just gonna open the RAM slots. CPU fan slot is up in the top right. This thing's really good for getting in for detail. So yeah, it's up top right. So the way I like to do this is to route the cable around the dark thick, logo face up, have the cable like that. Nice and simple. Apply some paste. Apply a big dollop. A little bit more came out there than I wanted to, but it'll be fine. I recently cleaned this, as I said I was using it, and then just switched it out. Just realised these tabs are not in position to mount through properly. Push until they click. Not going in at all. What's the deal with that? There we go. Now we just quickly check to make sure that the black piece comes out as far as the white pieces. That one looks a little bit lower, but I think that's probably fully out. Let's get a little bit further out. There we go, we have our CPU on our RAM. Sorry, on our motherboard. With the cooler attached. Can't I fit this around here on this board? There we go. Cable nice and in. Simple as anything. Alright, RAM, painfully simple as well. We only have 2 slots, so you can't really put these in the wrong ones. Just put it in, till it bottoms out. Then put 4 on each side. There, not too bad. GPU we need to get out of the way. Storage we don't need. So this can go to one side. Need to get the case out. So this is the case, comes pre-taped with magnetic dust filter obviously. Just keeping that on. One thing I noticed is, okay, green USB 3, fine, sure, why not, do your own thing, but the one USB 2? What? Oh, I should also mention this board does not have a USB 3 header on it. So what happened there was I had a bunch of USB 3 to USB 2 adapters. Most of them disappeared, I had a couple left over. and the guy, a local builder, asked me if I had any because he needed them urgently. So yeah, Deep Cool Matrix. This is a mediocre front panel. It's a little bit rattly. It's not that great, but it's a nice design. Some people like this kind of thing. So I found this. Let's give this over a bit. I found this front panel to be a little bit odd. It's got captive screws, which, you know, is usually nice. Captive meaning when you unscrew them, there's a little lump for them to hang onto. But this case has latches down in the bottom, slides out, and then lifts up that way. So yeah, as you can see, that's with the captive screws. So inside, everything looks pretty standard. We have an SSD mount, which is on the other side. This is a really deep area for cable management. Fans are a little bit spaced out here. If I was to really think about it, I'd move this fan over here, and then just take a blank one here. But this is a budget build. I had to shave off about £30 just to make it viable at the price I want to sell it. So I don't want to spend, like, for example, another few quid on another fan. Those are the small costs that add up. Really simple, pretty standard design here on the backplate. This is hefty. Like, that's noticeably thicker aluminium than any other case. So this has weird cable management points because they're mostly, usually you would see like the little anchor on the flat plate, but instead you've got these raised out bits with the anchors on them, the tie locations. So it's a little bit weird. There's not so many of them here. Lots of area over here, so the SSD can easily just go here. We have to drag up SATA quite a bunch though, so I'm thinking SSD here. This may be fine because we could get all these in here. We could get the motherboard power connector up here. Yeah, I'll be right. Nothing too special. Also, these fans, they're 2-pin Molex 12 volt. It's a lot of cable ties. Sure, you could stick an SSD or a hard drive on the drive bay. We might just do that actually, just keep the SATA cables all tucked under there. Pretty standard, quite large thumb screw on the GPU PCIe covers. Yep, SSD there. What's that screwdriver pointing to? Oh, that's just indicating M.2 screws, power supply. And not M.2. I do this all the time, I call motherboard standoffs M.2s. Welcome to mine. No, I'll be bald again soon, trust me. 3 120s at the front, or 2 140s. I didn't see the mounting for that. That's quite nice. Only a 120 at the back. Is this the roof? 280, 241? Does that have space for 2 140s? It does. Nice. So you can fit 280 rad at the top, or 2 140mm fans, just for some extra quiet cooling. I do have some Arctics, but this is a budget build. It's got a freaking 1050 Ti. I don't need to put in extra cooling. Front panel removable, yeah. Drive bay, just the parts. Yeah, that's all we get in the manual. Everything you already know, just not anything that you really care about. A lot of cable ties. I love it when they come with a lot of cable ties. Ah yes, the Chinesium quality certificate. Stamped on the wrong side, I think. Oh, nice. An actual resealable bag for the screws. I'll deal with those later. I'm not gonna do that on stream. Quite nice. We have a very flexible USB 3 cable. It's such a shame because I'm using a 3 to 2 adapter soon when I get it. So there's the front fans. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a look at the fans. Because I'm gonna admit I had a sneak preview of this earlier. Sneak peek. And we'll talk about it when we get to it. This camera's extremely wide angle. Already unpackaged. Yeah, this is really nice to see them come with C13 power cables. I mean, we're talking 600 watts with 1050 Ti, but maybe you want to upgrade it 2600. Slap on a better cooler, £30, overclock that like a motherfucker. And yeah, you'll be able to pull off a better GPU. Maybe something power hungry but older, so it's not that strong. Maybe like 980 Ti. These things are like 636 watts on the 700 version on the 12 volt. So on the 600 we're looking at what, 540 maybe? Yeah, power table. 540 exactly. Oh, gotta give myself credit for that one. Right. Quickly put this in. Remember not to forget that IO shield. Let's grab our one of our SATA power, Molex powers. I've got Molex in the end of this one, that'll do. This cable's like 10 foot long, what the fuck? And we need the motherboard power connector. Got quite a lot of these gadgets around. The autofocus is not great, I would admit. It's better than C920 though, infinitely better. Alright, what are we looking at with the fans? Decent bit of wobble on that back one. These front ones have noticeable wobble. You can't really see it because the camera is like blurring in the you know, where the actual LEDs are. It's expanding them out, blurring it out, and you can't really see the edge of the wobble, the edge of the black circle as well. But that is wobbling quite a bit. Let's get this panel off. So these actually look quite good, but I don't have any auto settings set on, so they're gonna kind of look this way. They're actually not completely awful, but wobbling black stickers, I'm thinking of just taking those off. Yeah, let's do it. Ooh, shit, that ain't gonna work. That's, shit. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Yeah, you can see that, but it's full on white ripped sticker. be fair, that does look better in person. Yeah, that's barely as noticeable. So I won't do it for the back fan, but I'll do it for these front ones. Yeah, that just looks much better. At the same time, not ideal. Maybe after stream I'll hit it with like Google on it or something. See if I can get rid of the white paper. It looks like I'm going to be discounting this build in R5. Can't get in anywhere else. Yeah, there is space for 140 mils. Two, yeah. Barely enough space for 3 120s when you move those up. That one has probably got quite far. Squashing into the front panel connector stuff. Okay, yeah, that's noticeably better on my end. But yeah, the back one will stay on. So it's a bit of a waste of time experimenting around with the case, but it's a new case. Said I was going to build this fast, but there's no chance of that happening. Alright, let's get a power supply in here. So you can't mount it fan up. It's completely blocked, and there's no sticker side. Should be more careful with dropping opened box cutters on the floor when I'm bare feet. So yeah, you can mount power supply down, face down, basically, but you don't have to worry about the sticker. Forgot to steal the screws, which I don't actually ever really need. I've got more than enough at the moment. But, you know, it could never hurt to use the ones that are actually supposed to come with power supply. Saves you dipping into your own supply. These are big heads, what the hell? Bigger than usual. So, you might see me hold screws in my mouth. If that disgusts you, go away. That's all I can say. Probably wore tighter trousers for this. Joggers are great when you're just landing around the house all day. Why is the power switch distant from the rest of the foot panel aisle? Oh, that's... What's going to be quite unpleasant is getting the USB 3 connector through that. Alright, we don't have any kind of a rest. And those screws isn't going in right. I'm a bit curious. So this one in particular was giving me grief. Not sure why. Oh yeah, this looks higher quality than usual. Just the machining here. The stamped aluminium. Almost said aluminum. Wrong country. Alright, so what are we going to need? We don't need any PCIe connectors because it's a 1050 Ti. Something I always debate with is how accessible do I make PCIe connectors if I'm not going to be using them, or if someone upgrades their GPU, for example. In this case, I don't think it's important really. I think this is what comes with 2. Might be mistaken. No, it only comes with 1. So with these, I like to basically just roll them up. Into a bundle again. And then slip them right down at the back. And that way they stay in there and it's neater than not. That's particularly overkill, I think. So I'm going to do it. You don't need to bundle things up this much, but I'm a bit of a cable management freak, as in I don't manage the best, but I will do it anyway. And there, we never have to see that cable again. PCIe 8 pin, obviously we do need that, so you stay towards the front here. Now we have SATA and Molex. At the end, and we have SATA and 2 Molex at the end. So let's take a look at our fans. How are we going to manage these? All right. So unscrew that. Passes through the obvious hole. Not able to open the settings of this camera, apparently. Don't know what I did. These two should not be tied up. Let's figure out how we're going to pass those through. Get very far. The only neat way to do this is to pass it up through here. So I pass it through here, then I can hide the cables behind the fans essentially. This camera is a little bit dark. I would like to change that. I made it a little bit too bright. Well, you can still see the details. Oh, this is nasty. We need a Molex that comes up here. So I think I'm gonna have to drive on the drive bay and have a cable. Have cable set into that and then Molex up into that. It's gonna have to be that way. Gonna take it the dry bay. 2 screws. And I assume this one will just have enough reach. Yeah, I'll have enough reach. I like to do these straggly fan cables at the bottom as much as possible because they're small enough they could get buried under other things. Alright. I do also have an MX500, BX500s in various sizes, but Barracuda Q1 got a bunch of these. Gonna stick with them. Filter through. Double check this is a proper case. Yeah, it's good enough overhang. Again, there are cases where it goes in like this and you can't really get cables in there. Never really understood why. Let's get ourselves some 4 screws. Good. It works 99 times out of 100, but I fail every time when I'm on camera. The guy failing to start his car outside. It's been that for half an hour. I need to be on the smaller screwdriver. I forget why I switched to this one. And screw this back in. Okay. Well, I think the easiest way is to basically just start putting things in, get rid of the one of these cables that we don't need. Effectively, they both do the same job though, don't they? I'll use this one, tie up the other one. That's too ridiculous even for me. And the cables you don't need literally disappear when you do that. Just punch them up, stick them back there. We have so much room here, it's unbelievable. Alright, what do we have installed and what do we need? We have full ATX, M.2 is in. Standoffs in. We have all standoffs populated? That's unique for a cheap case. Also, yeah, just take note of this. The distance in the top standoff, that's basically just on top of that is the top of the motherboard case. So this is a lot of room for a radiator. Why you would ever put a radiator in a case like this? The fans are pretty weak. Just... why? There's no explanation for why things like that happen. Alright, IO shield, almost forgot. Time to cut our fingertips. Oh, that was a bad one. That's in place. And I'm not going to lift that one down for a while. Let's get that up there. The fan cable, the rear fan cable right through the back, you always have problems with that. You got to make sure it gets up. And the autofocus is not here with me right now. So, let's focus there. Autofocus. There we go. We need, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't know why I was thinking 7 off the top of my head. So you always just want to get the one screw in, and as soon as that's done, you can move on to more. Generally it's quite difficult to see the far away ones when I'm working on this desk. And you usually have to force the motherboard into it. We force that one in. The IO shield is pretty bent, that's why. I can't really see this one, I'm just kind of guessing at this point. But we got 2 dyno ones in, so it's good now. If it's a good case, then the rest of them will just line up. Welcome Keeper, how are you doing? We ended up doing a bug showcase of Sea of Thieves yesterday. That was... It's the new season, so we give it a go. You know, when I said there's 6, I thought it might be 7. I pulled out 7 screws anyway. Just my brain works like that. Or it doesn't work. I'm good. So yeah, that's most of it, and I just realised maybe... Nah, might as well still better off up here. Personnel be wanting it. Yeah, so we need to worry about not having USB 3 on the front. In fact, we only have one USB 2. It's not good. Not good. That's fine. So, time to start getting some cables routed through. Alright, so all these are going to be on this side probably. They pin PCIe power. That's the easiest to get through, we'll just get it through. Oh shit, you actually got it going. This is a 2600K. Got an insane deal on it. So you can see there's a little latch on top of there, but sometimes you don't see it, you could just feel for it, just to double check. Oh shit, his car went off again. It's almost comical though, isn't it? Double check those did go in. And we'll pull that cable tight. Man, you can see so much, there's so much radiator space in the case, that's so shit for airflow. Why would anyone put anything that requires a radiator of that size in this case? Like, if you replace all the fans, sure, it'd be okay, but like, there's better cases out there. Won't get it. And there's no standard cable tie points, just again, it's on these bend ups. I guess that was just easier for them to punch through the metal that way, but it's not going to look too pretty really back here. It's not supposed to, but it's supposed to just be organised enough that it makes it easier for people to see. Got this back to front, I hope to God not. Not using my usual cable ties is always a bit of a hit or miss. Right, so yeah, this cable's going to be sitting a little bit more loose than usual. Not a huge fan, but this is anything but the end of the world. There's never any cables that just hang over this power supply, so it's not going to disturb it. I would like for something to tie that onto, because if it goes over here then you'll be able to see it from the other side. Gonna have to pinch those. This is why I buy hundreds of cable ties. So when I stream I can put cable ties everywhere to make it look good. Yeah. I don't look bald when I've got hair. Although I will be going bald again soon because it's just easier. I'm due for a haircut and it's the middle of summer. I am roasting at all times, all day, every day. Absolutely destroyed. He managed it again. Alright, I need this to somehow stay. There's a lot of heat around here, like this webcam. Like this ring light as well. Absolute. I can only describe it with that exhale of air. Can't describe that with words. And this we'll have to do, and then we'll bring up a cable to connect into that. I usually like to do motherboard cable first, get the big one out of the way. This has gone a little bit awry. Cable as a loop the loop over there. So I think that's basically the only way to really keep that out of view. Tags on that side. These wires are a little bit not ideal. That's not so bad coming from there. Also, this is something, can every power supply manufacturer look for this? The 4-pin on the 20+4. Please just make it so it just sticks in. Make sure it's not just loosely there, you have to hold it in when you're pushing this in. It's so legacy. If someone has a 20-pin, make them put in extra 10 seconds of effort it takes to just pull them apart. Yep, they are Molex fans. 2-pin Molex on the toggle. And they're actually not too loud, but they're still not quiet. They are not fans I could respect. I suppose that would look okay. It wouldn't look too great. But then again, 1050 Ti system. This the one on the main loom. I mean, it's going to be this loom and then just the power supply coming off this way. Honestly, 20-pin might even be older than you, but yeah, it's when you got the 20+4, it just really annoys me when you're trying to get them in. 6+2 is like a pain I could live with, but you know, it's so unnecessary right now. It's fine to have, just please support it in an appropriate way. These cable ties that come with the case are quite thin. They're a lot thinner than the ones I usually use. If I could do this, then I could force the cable to go deeper in there. Which keeps it out of the way. This case is going to look very neat without PCIe cables, with minimum effort. Alright, last cable we've got to do is the connecting Molex fans at the same time as the SATA. Doesn't seem too bad. Except it's going to be like this. Ugh, grossing me out already. All this could be bundled before it goes into that. Just put in there. Yeah, that'll do. These are cheap power supplies, and honestly this cheap one has more features than good power supplies. Like legitimately good, like 55, 60 pound branded ones, you see them without ribbon cables, you see them with horrible cables. Comes with its own power cable, and just little things like that. Technically I could run this cable around the back of the drive cage, but I think that's a step too far. I think anyone who sees this is just gonna think, just sees this little mess under here and is like, okay, that's just bundled up extra cable for SATA cables. Like, no one's gonna have a problem with that. And these are upside down. So what I want to do is cable across that and cable this to that. Yeah, gonna have to do that. And that's our power supply cable management done. Like, sure, it looks a little bit messy under here because we've got the bundles of cables that we aren't going to use. But up here, nothing. It's just a little bit weird. Bit of a shame about that. I spend so much time on cable management. Oh, buy a CPU. Oh, you can't even tell when I got this cup anymore. That actually does stretch. Maybe hide that. Cable managed well. All we have to do is get these to their respective areas. So, as I said, the USB 3, we don't have the adapter yet, so we're gonna have to wait. Should be in the post tomorrow, so I could easily just finish that. And then I could get this PC ready to sell. For sale. Alright, so all FPC go in the leftmost one. All these are going to go in the left, aren't they? Except from panel audio. Damn USB. I always take a bit of a gamble when I'm checking the front panel ones, whether it's USB or front panel audio, the first one I grab. I grab the USB first. Aim. Check that's HD audio. So we're just going to tuck the USB 3, I need to separate out a bit. Alright, so we've got our cables separated. I feel like we're missing something. Power switch, reset switch, hard drive LED, power LED. There appears to be no power LED, I'm assuming that's the hard drive LED. Interesting. We could plug it in as a power LED. It's basically just an LED and it just reacts to whatever signal it gets from the place we plug it in. So we plug into power, it'll light up with the power. You know when your PC's on though, especially when it's got Molex fans that instantly come on. Can't control them otherwise. So I think that's a bit redundant. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to manage these like this. In fact, I'm going to do that now because these cables are a little bit harder to control. Especially when I'm eating my cable ties around the room. I like this case, it's nice and neat. If I was to go for this or Trinity for the same price, Trinity this all day long, for the original price of £40, never this case. Oh, 10400F. That's a nice one. My brother wants one. It's one of the best modern CPUs I've built with. Not like best, but like best in value, you know, other reasons than just performance. Because it is really astonishingly a great chip, especially thermally. Alright, so I can't manage any lower because I'm going to need to account for slack when these cables aren't fully in. So right now USB 3, completely tucking that one away. I'll sort that out later. Oh Christ, that's neat as fuck. Wow. There's a neatness, this case is astonishing. Love it. Although, how much is going to be when we pull the slack back through? Lots of USBs on this board. We go back through. Let's assume we got our similar stuff: HDLD, power LED, power button reset. Yep. So, It's getting nice and close down here. I want to move that shred back actually. There's a power switch. Oh, power button. Had me worried there. And HD audio over on this side. Again, these are all keyed, so as you can see there's a pin there missing. I'm not sure the focus wants to do that though. Oh, the focus had it for a second there. There we go. So I'd say the 4K on the Brio was a gimmick, but the 1080p is just the best 1080p.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Okay. That shows there is an HDMI on the I/O shield, but not on the board. Maybe he lost the original one, bought one to sell with it. But £23 including postage, that's really, you wouldn't do that. So this must be for a very similar board. Maybe a multiple of these machines. Maybe custom built workstation type of stuff. And that was what I was concerned about. This spaghetti. And none of these are the same length as each other. Well, these ones are. Tie these here. $1,000 for $150 US. Pretty reasonable price here. It's £135. It was 125, but it's a pretty popular CPU, and the 11400F is kind of replacing it. But those aren't really cheaper for sale, really. So a lot of people tend to want the 10400F. I guess 135 instead of 125 is a good balance, because the 11400 is 150, 155. It's been a little while since the last look though. This one could basically just go as is, really. I'm okay with it overlapping that a bit. Alright, so the USB 3, that's our cable management almost done. So the USB 3 going to be completely just dangling there, and I'm okay with that. Front panel audio may or may not need a bit of attention to keep that pulled through. There's no way I should dare connect these two cables. Wouldn't make much sense. This is an insanely goddamn neat case. I'm fucking astounded still. Yeah. So ignore this. It's a little bit of tucking. SATA cable. Something we almost forgot. Something I usually always do forget. These front panel connectors, these could be just a little bit tighter. I think I'm gonna have to cable tie those together. That one, the visitor ones. Gonna have to use one of these ones. Much better. I'd like to see some black tape for that. And maybe burn through a pile of cable ties. Yeah, everything's looking quite good. We don't have SATA ports on the bottom, sadly, only on the sides, so we're gonna have a SATA cable run across here. I'm okay with that. I don't know if I can show you my stash. No, I can't, it's all going to come pouring out. But up here I've got a stash of like 60 plus SATA cables. Probably be able to see it if I turned off my thing. This is not a new one. This one came with this motherboard, hence why I'm still using it. Makes no difference, obviously I would use a new one, but it's just, come on, free. Plug it into a lower slot. I've been asked a couple of times why I don't usually use M.2 drives, and price is kind of one of the main things. For a cheap M.2 drive, if you want to be even in the same ballpark usually, you, on a budget build, you're talking it's going to be SATA anyway. So, I wouldn't really say too much about that. I need to lower that just a little bit just to get me in shot a bit more. So this is not going to look pretty regardless how I do it, so I need to slide it under. I guess it's one of those ones. I would like to route this around the back of the drive bay, but that would be a little bit disastrous. So let's undo that. What I want to do is to get a better view on this. What I want to do is get this plugged in here, and then obviously have this all bundled up and down there. So it's all focused this close. I'm gonna bring my hat. What? Must be like just on the edge of a range or something. SATA cables are pretty inflexible. So it would be better off just like running it through the middle and pinching these, but I'm gonna take it a step further. One thing you don't really want to mess up is your data cables. What the hell? Looks like I completely missed. Yeah, that's not so bad. It looks a bit messy because obviously just this cable stuffed in there, but still. You bought a 980 Ti for 160, that's good going. So of 200 is quite cheap though. Alright. All we need now is to put in the GPU. And we should be ready to boot. 1 hour of messing around and heavy cable management, but you know what? If it just 1 in 50 customers looks at my cable management, I'm happy. MSI 980 Ti, the red one, the Red Dragon design, whatever it's called. Not a fan of those. If you've not noticed, this is a bit lax on the PCIe support. It's got, I could put in a Wi-Fi adapter down here, which I may do. I'll probably sell this one of my usual USB Wi-Fi adapters though. But yeah, it's got one PCIe X16 slot, PCIe 3, luckily, and 2 AGP slots. If you remember AGP graphics cards, then you were an old tank. Well, MSI's whole thing was like, with the whole Red Dragon series, was like, it's supposed to be really quiet, it gets really hot, but it's quite idle. It's not quiet when you're using it. When you're using it, it gets really, really hot until it passes its threshold and just absolutely whacks the fans to 100%. Louder than any other card, really. I've had a lot of better cards. I've had maybe 3 of those 980 Ti's this year. And the 970 of that variant, and the 960. I've got 960 in stock right now. Yeah, they stopped really doing it for the 10 series as far as I'm aware. Alright, let's get a couple of screws, get that in. Oh, that's a bit too much force to get that over. Honestly, like, temperature wise, they're just not great cards. And the idea was they could advertise the fact that they get really good. Oh, what's going on? They get really good performance otherwise. Sorry, noise performance, but that's not true. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this card. I know. This is a bit ridiculous, too much effort to get these holes to line up. think the case is a little bit off. In theory, it should be perfectly okay to do. Didn't realize those fan cables were sticking out that much. Two power supply plugged in. I've been meaning to replace the benchmark, not benchmark, the testing keyboard and mouse for ages. I wanted to do it on Prime Day, but I was like, I'm spending my money on very many other things on Prime Day. Lots of SSDs. SSDs went really cheap. There were lots of Amazon warehouse PC parts, especially power supplies, but a guy in Discord who bought most of them, he said that most of them came without, the modular power supplies came without any cables at all. Well, mics are quiet. They are slightly different in the fact that they just really heavily thermal throttle. So inside this case does not look amazing, but on the front it looks fine. Oh, that's great, straight to BIOS. New CPU installed, sure. Right, what are we looking at? This PC is slightly rattly. It's the fans. Let's go turbo. I think this is hiding the advanced mode. There we go. RAM's at 1333, that's not true. Shouldn't be anyway, I mean. CPU config, what we're looking at, ratio, there's no OC here, we've got hyperthreading enabled. No one's going to need virtualization technology who's using this PC. Stack configuration, do that HCI mode. Smart chip stats enabled, that's good. Like USB support, that's fine. Onboard devices, ACO controller, compound type HD. Memory frequency, whoops, shit. GPU boost, what the hell is that? Is that some sort of in-BIOS overclock? Oh, what the hell? Is that just enabling, disabling the GPU to boost? Didn't think that would be a thing. Here's what that does. With DRAM timings. So I can set profiles, but I can't set the actual profile. I can't set the speed unless that's elsewhere. Except the voltage check, set the timing, so I can't set the actual speed. I mean, I could probably overclock it a little bit. That's too much effort for a budget system like this. Well, we're gonna have to deal with that. We are probably due a BIOS update, obviously. 60 gigs of RAM does show though. This one, I think, is the Windows install. No, never mind, this one is. One with the big W on it. Now, where's the boot mode key? Ah, plug it, there isn't one. Nice getting biased in time. Boot override. I completely just selected the wrong starting drive. Meant to select the Windows install USB. This version's a little bit out of date, so. Tries to stop power in the system. I could probably do this from the normal screen, but so everything about this PC is fine. Right now I'm just gonna install Windows. I might have just put in the wrong USB, to be honest. I think this is the Windows one. Yep. Install Windows. Gonna run memtest A6 off USB. Gonna run FireMark and get a score for a benchmark. I'm gonna run Cinebench, get a 10-minute benchmark score. Then I'm gonna run Cinebench and FireMark both for 1 hour each. I'm also considering moving to Heaven instead of FireMark, but that's still a consideration. Yeah, it's gonna be Windows 10 Pro, Windows 10 PC. It's gonna be completed, and I can't believe we did it this quickly while worrying about cable management that much. It's not the prettiest build inside, but you know, it looks pretty from behind, and that's saying something. Let's just take one last look. Still curious whether 3 of these in the front will look better in the black fan at the back. I don't think so. I don't think it'll be worth it. Yeah, this is a nice budget build. Thanks for coming to the stream, but this is where we're going to be leaving it. So, thanks for coming, and goodbye.